All right, so yeah, as you guys have seen probably online, it's exploding with these monoliths appearing all around the world. And I found it a very interesting topic to try and recreate with visual effects because this is an ideal task that you can put onto yourself to achieve photorealism. And this is actually correlated to something that I'm currently working on. And I just found this a really interesting topic to live stream about because we're going to be, well, I'm actually working on an epic VFX course. So you guys might have already heard of it. It's not done yet. I'm still working hard on it. I can't give you too much details yet, but it's going to basically include how you can become a visual effects artist from A to Z. And yeah, it gives you a ton of tips and tricks to achieve photorealism, because the goal of that course will be so everyone can achieve photoreal results. That's what we're going to be doing. The link will be in the description for that. So if you want to go and check that out, you can click on the link, sign up with your email, and then you're already in that list and you will get all the updates along while when we know the details, because currently I don't know the exact details for that. So Samuel Lambert asks if Blender is better than Cinema. Well, the true answer here is that there is no better 3D software. There is only a 3D software that you might prefer. I prefer working with Cinema because it's so intuitive, it's so easy, and you can do so much things with it in such a intuitive way. I tried using Blender, and for me, Blender doesn't really work. It's a little bit too complex for what I want to do. Some things require a lot of setup time, but it's just my personal opinion. I know people that work with Blender that absolutely love it. So it all comes down to you trying to test out different softwares and yeah, figure it out for yourself, to be honest, because everyone has a different taste. My personal preference is Cinema 4D, which you know already. So yeah, I'm currently not on my main setup. I'm on my laptop, the MSI Prestige Creator P65, if I'm correct. This has an RTX 2080. It's a pretty powerful laptop, 32 gigabytes of RAM, so I'm pretty satisfied with it. I can do a live stream, and it's apparently working, so that's great news. So this is actually a test for myself as well, to see if I can be like a mobile creator all around the world and still be able to live stream, create epic stuff. So I already rendered a little thing that I recorded the other day. So I'm going to just import that with my tracker here. So I'm going for the motion tracker, and I'm going to import my footage. The stream will be saved afterwards, so you can rewatch it. Yes, definitely. And yeah, so in today's video, we're going to create a monolith in Cinema 4D. And the reason why I picked this topic is because we want to perfectly reflect our environment. Well, we want to perfectly reflect our environment on our monolith, and it's a chrome thing. So we're going to try and make it as interesting as we can. So I have a footage here that I recorded, and I have my image sequence of that footage because Cinema works better with image sequences. So I'm going to click on that and open it up, and that should load it up in my motion tracker. I'm going to increase my sampling to something like 66. I can already create a background object. I'm going into the 2D tracker. I'm going to increase this to maybe like 1500. And I'm going to click the auto track button. That way we can already chat, and Cinema 4D is already working. We're not wasting time. So while that's happening, I'm going to read what you guys are saying over here. Mr. Donka, thank you so much. Movie time. You dashed my car last month? No, I don't remember you. What does dashing mean actually? Like, how can you dash a car? Hey, Naomi, it doesn't matter if you just have Blender. I think you're probably asking for the course, right? So yeah, the course will be focused on After Effects, Cinema 4D, and Octane to create photoreal visual effects and integrate them into your footage. But if you're working with other 3D software and you feel comfortable with that 3D software, that's absolutely no problem, because everything that we will be talking about, maybe some technical things might be different because I'm using a different software, but it's all about the techniques that we will be using, which you can implement in any software that you use anyway. If you use a different render engine, if you use a different software, you can still follow along and get a ton of value out of it. It's basically the same like a photographer. If you give a photographer a really expensive camera, he's going to be able to take great photos. But when you give that expensive camera to someone that isn't experienced with photos, he's going to create, well, not so great photos. And when you give a photographer a phone, he's still able to create epic photos. So it's all about the knowledge of how to use a camera than what camera you're using in the first place. So I'm going to be using Cinema 4D and Octane, but you can still get all the important value out of it, which you can translate into any software, any render engine. So that's the great thing. And yeah, you're also going to join in an amazing community of all like-minded people that really love visual effects, and we're going to do Zoom calls and stuff like that. So but yeah, I can't give you all the details just yet. It's in the early stages. I'm wrapping up the entire course. I just recorded big parts of it, and I'm editing it already. So it's getting really close. If you want to stay up to date for this epic VFX course, definitely check out the link in the description. LearnEpicVFX.com. Let me just check if that link is actually functioning, because I'm not sure. I didn't double check. My bad. So there doesn't go anything wrong there. So I'm going to place my microphone next to me over here. There we go. Yeah, so the website is definitely working. You can just leave your email there, and then you will get updated along the way once we have more details for you. Is Octane so necessary, or well, you have Corona renderer? If you have Corona renderer and you're like happy and satisfied with that render engine, it's also a great render engine. I'm not telling you that you have to have Octane. It's just my personal preference from the ones that I have tried in the past, because it's so intuitive, it's so easy. There are few settings because it instantly creates realistic results. Well, you still need to tweak. You still need to have all the knowledge of how to get those realistic results, but there are no settings to cheat your way to realistic results. It instantly gives you physical, accurate results. So that's why I'm using it. But literally everything that I tell you will be translated into any other render engine. If you enjoy V-Ray, if you enjoy Corona, that's all good. My advice on learning Cinema 4D is just getting started. You don't need to know all the tools in here. Definitely not. It's building blocks. Don't think of it like, oh, I have to know this entire software. No, just think of it, I just want to create this particular thing in the software, and you can follow tutorials. You can follow the next level. You can follow the epic VFX masterclass that we will be launching soon. Yeah. Oh, really? I'm the first one that spoke your name correctly. That's awesome. I'm not going to repeat it just so I can't make a mistake. No, thank you so much. I haven't played with Unity yet, but I have played with Unreal Engine in the past, and that's also something that I think has a very big future, a very bright future ahead. So if you're capable of working with those softwares as well, that's pretty cool. So it's still processing. It's a little bit slower. Maybe I should have made a shorter clip, because this is 10 seconds long. It has 30 FPS. I recorded this with my phone. You can see that the sharpness here, it's not as clean as if I would have recorded it with my main camera. But still, we're going to definitely be able to use it. And you can also see right here that I have my 360 camera standing here. I'm actually going to use this one because I took photos there. And oh god, I have to install the studio, I think. So I'm quickly going to install the studio while we're waiting anyway. Because I'm on my laptop. I don't have that studio right here. Well, I had it, and then it was giving some errors with After Effects. I had to uninstall it, and then I forgot to reinstall it again. So let me quickly pull that up here and just install the software, because we want to create an HDRI map. I took 360 images in different exposure levels. We're going to combine all these different exposure levels into one photo, so it has all this data. And then we can use this to light our scene, but also to reflect our scene. And as we're going to be working with something that looks chrome, we need to have accurate reflection. So we really need to have an HDRI of that location. If you don't have a 360 camera, you can always go to hdrihaven.com. They have free HDRIs that you can download, and yeah, you can just find something that is very similar to your scene. So I'm going to download the Insta360 Studio here, which I need because I recorded the photos in the format of that studio, so not in a JPEG, which I could have used afterwards. So yeah, it's installing over here. Just gonna pull that up right here. Saml, I have worked with Nuke in the past, but yeah, I don't use Nuke for my work from day-to-day basis, because we're a small team, and like Nuke, for in my opinion, is like for the bigger companies, the bigger when you're really starting to work on one project with like a ton of people. The reason why is because you keep that oversight, but After Effects is just so much faster to create something, to set up a scene, to from start to finish. I just enjoy After Effects a lot more because I'm just at the end. I'm just way faster at the finish line. So yeah, I'm a big fan of After Effects, but you need to understand your way around After Effects in order to really use it in its maximum performance. Yeah, of course I've heard of the Element 3D plugin, obviously. Yeah, you have different ways of creating HDRIs. You can use your tripod and your camera with like a wider lens, and then you can rotate, or even your phone and just take a panorama with your phone. Be creative. You just need the reflections of that location. So the best way, obviously, is to create an HDRI. Well, the easiest way is with a 360 camera, in my opinion. The best way is with a high resolution camera, and you just have a ton of angled shots, and you would really spend a lot of time creating those. But yeah, again, it's gonna take a lot of time. This is no real question, Mac or Windows, whatever you prefer, man. You like when I began with this entire journey, I was full of questions myself. I was like, should I use 3ds Max? Should I use Cinema 4D? Should I use Maya? Should I use what should I use? I didn't know. I had so many questions. What computer? Windows, Mac? What render engine? Oh my God, V-Ray. Oh, there is Octane. Arnold is out there. Like, what do I have to use? And I was really panicking at that moment. And in the end, it's just procrastination, to be honest. You just have to start. Pick one, start. See where it takes you. You don't enjoy it? Try another one. And like people are gonna tell you, oh, you need like my teacher was literally showing me a different software, and I like, does it even exist anymore? It was called Lightwave, and I was like, Lightwave? I don't want to use Lightwave. I want to use Cinema 4D. Luckily, he was nice enough to let me use my 3D software of choice, Cinema 4D, and I could follow along his classes while he was teaching in Lightwave, and I just had to translate everything in my software. But I was so happy that I wasn't losing time on learning the software I was never going to use again after the classes. So he really understood that the software is not the problem. It's just whatever you prefer and like the techniques to get you there. So again, guys, for the new people, if you want to check out, if you want to learn Epic VFX, check out the link in my description. I can't give you too much details, but I'm working on an Epic VFX course. You can sign up with your email, and then we will send you all the details once we are there. But you will get a ton of value, even if you didn't don't join. So just sign up with your email. You will get a ton of great tips and tricks to create some epic VFX either way. So definitely go ahead and do that. So I don't want to create a desktop shortcut. I don't want to install the Premiere Pro plugin. So is it selected? There we go. Infinity Gamers, why does my PC suck? That's a pretty bad thing to say, huh? uh, PR Studios. I can share my PC specs, but currently I'm on my mobile setup. If you want to know my PC specs, you can go and check out my 10K workstation video on the YouTube channel. That will run you through the entire setup that I'm actually working on in the studio. Here I'm using the MSI Creator Laptop P65, which has an RTX 2080 and an Intel Core i9, which is it's a pretty powerful laptop, 32 gigabytes of RAM as well. So I'm satisfied. For a laptop, it's doing whatever it needs to do. I mean, I can run all this software and I can live stream, and apparently it's working. So that's great. Okay, so it's almost done tracking. We can continue. Sorry that it took so much here. I know you guys want to see the good stuff, right? So while this is installing, we can continue here in Cinema. We can see that we have all these tracking points, and yeah, obviously this will be a pretty solid track because we have so much detail in here. I'm not even going to bother to look at what tracks would be bad because I'm sure this will be a good track. So I'm quickly going over to the 3D solve, and I'm just going to let it guess everything, and I'm going to run the 3D solver. And again, it's going to load everything up. Maybe I should also save my scene so it can't crash. So another reason why I really enjoy Cinema 4D is because it's an all-around great software. It's being used in the industry. Feature films are created with it. It's very powerful for motion graphics. You see it in the industries all the time, like companies doing motion graphics for commercials with cinema. And Blender is not that integrated. It's not as intuitive in my opinion, but it's free. So I totally understand that a lot of people enjoy Blender way more because it's free. Um, so yeah, it's always good to just go ahead and learn Blender anyway, and then maybe later you end up learning cinema. I started off learning, I don't know, I think 3ds Max and then cinema, but I never really completed my training in 3ds Max because I just hated the software. It looked old, the interface, and I don't like interfaces that don't look sleek, and no other software but cinema has such a sleek interface, and I put in importance to that. I want to have a clean interface. It's very important for me. I don't know why. So, okay, are we being, well, it's still solving, I think. In the meantime, we can check what Insta360 is doing here. Okay, we can go into Window. I actually already did a collaboration with Cinecom. We actually did a video together for Star Wars. You can find it on my channel and on their channel. I'm sure you can find it if you just search for it and just use our both names as tags and maybe Star Wars as a keyword. Not sure. Thank you so much. The video is lagging a little bit. Sorry for that, guys. But that's probably because I'm doing this installation and it's through the 3D solver and everything combined. So just give it a moment and it will come back smoothly. Once Insta360 is installed, it's very unfortunate to have to do this installation here and spend time on this. Sorry for that, guys, but we really need it. So it really takes a long time to install the software, huh? I have commented Nuke before, yes, but it's been a very long time. I just love After Effects a little bit more because it's more intuitive, but Nuke is definitely, yeah, the industry standard for compositing in big teams and big companies because it's easier if you're working with a lot of people on it. So we're almost there, guys. So yeah, currently I'm not explaining every detail of all my tutorials in detail. That's true, I know. That's because I'm doing more advanced visual effects. If I would explain every single detail in detail, we would take like hours and hours and hours, maybe 4 to 6 hours, and I cannot upload a 4 hour long video on YouTube. Well, I could, but that's not really what the channel is about. So that's why we decided to create this epic VFX course, which will be launched pretty soon. So if you're interested in knowing all these details, if you have questions, you want to learn so much more about Photoreal VFX, then definitely join in. Leave your email with the link in the description. You can click and I will take you to a sign up page where you can leave your email address behind. And then we will send you all the updates about that course once we have it, because we don't have all the details right now. But you will also get a ton of free tips and tricks. So it's definitely worth signing up for. Okay, so we're here. Okay, so I'm going to finish this. Great. So is the video a little bit better now, or is it still kind of lagging? Yeah, it's still not over. So I think it's getting worse and worse, even over here. Okay, so it's taking a very long time to solve this. So in the meantime, we're going to open up the Insta360 Studio. Just gonna close After Effects for now because I'm not using it. Apparently this laptop cannot handle it as easily as my main computer. But it's a great try, you know. We can try and work on this laptop. It's a good idea to test out things in your life, you know. So we're going to open up Insta360 Studio. I'm going to import my 360 images that I took with this Insta360 camera. You can see in my shot right here. I just left it in the shot because we're going to place something on top of it anyway. So oh, can you make me some pancakes? I would love to eat some pancakes right now. Okay, so right here, I have my images 360. There we go. I'm going to import all of these. These are the native formats of the Insta360. I actually have my camera right here. That's the 360 camera, pretty cool thing. It's the Insta360 One X2, and yeah, it captures some really nice 360 maps, and you can do a lot of cool things with it. So, oh damn, I misclicked here. And there we go. So we don't need the video. Okay, we're going to open up these images. I think I should use a cable. I have like the router next to me. So yeah, it's an experimental phase this. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, guys, with the lag. But I'm currently not in Belgium. I'm visiting the family of my girlfriend. Well, my fiance actually. So that's why we are in Romania right now. And I took my mobile setup with me. Okay, so these are all the images. I'm just going to select all of them. File, export, just original, and we want to save them. Well, we want to save them right here in the JPEG folder. There we go. Select this folder. That's great. Okay. Boom. It's gonna render. So it's currently lagging a little bit because we're doing 3D solving in Cinema, I think. Cinema 4D requirements. Are you talking specifications for your PC? Well, that really depends. I mean, just the bare basics. At least 8 gigabytes of RAM, I would say. A 1080 Ti would be ideal, like a GT, like any decent NVIDIA card or like whatever decent graphics card that you have around. And like, yeah, just don't go like. I personally don't have like the experience of the lower end cards because yeah, I'm sorry, I really can't help too much with that. But just think logically. If you can run Photoshop, you definitely well, if you can run it smoothly, you can definitely run Cinema. So it's not that big of a deal. Currently, it's well, this is the Belgian time. So in Belgium, this would be 12:46, but here in Romania, it's 1:46 p.m. So yeah, I understand you totally with not being ready for Cinema. I wasn't ready for Cinema when I started with it. I wasn't ready for After Effects when I started with it. I was scared of everything that I started with. It's just about like, I never knew that I would ever come to this moment to ever have all this kind of like people are looking up to me and saying like, oh, one day I want to be like you. Well, I had that same sentence that you tell me, and I was telling that to other creators that I was following back then. The only goal, well, the only secret that is there is just keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't give up. If you keep pushing, if you keep trying to get better, you will always get better. You will maybe like see a lot of improvement at a certain point, and then you kind of plateau, and then you're like, okay, I don't get better, maybe, but I'm pretty good. You're already pretty confident, and then all of a sudden, boom, another spike up, and you become even better than that. That's what happens all the time. And then you plateau again, and then you're like, okay, so this is really next level. It's really gonna be hard to get even better than that, and boom, you skyrocketed again. So yeah, you just have to keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't give up. Kalerashi, close to Kalerashi. Okay, so I have my 360 photos. Now I need to open up Photoshop, and I'm going to import my photos from my 360 camera. I'm going to merge them into an HDRI map. Yeah, in my opinion, and if I look back at my experience when I started out, people have too many questions, and the questions should stop, and you should just start doing. And I know it's hard. but just pick something and start doing it. And everyone probably tells you this, and you're still thinking, but what software? Like, just do it. Just trust me on this. Do it. And we will all get better together. How awesome would that be? And for the people that really want to get better at VFX, definitely check out my link in the description, because that's going to be, like, I'm so excited about this release because I was waiting for such a long time to release something like this until I felt absolutely ready, and the moment has come, and it's going to be so much fun. Like, I have so much fun with my students in the next level editing course. I didn't know that I was going to enjoy this so much, but it's because we're all connected. It's more real. Like, okay, I'm talking to my camera right now, and there I'm talking to the people face to face. So the people that are watching my YouTube videos, and that's just the most amazing thing. They're all from all around the world, all different ages. Everyone is welcome, and everyone is amazing with each other. They all hang out in the chat actually, and they're talking all day about the topics of VFX and stuff. It's so inspiring to see. It motivates me even, for sure. And the people are saying that it's also motivating them in the chat. So it's so much fun there. Look, I would definitely love to visit Transylvania. I was 1 year ago, I did a Europe trip. So I came with the car to Romania as well. And we visited some places, but not Transylvania because it's all the other side. But I would love to visit it for sure. I hear it's amazing. But the country is amazing. It really is. It has so much to offer. It has a sea, it has mountains, it has the winter sports, but it has the summer vibes. Yeah, it's an amazing country for sure. So right here, merge to HDR Pro is where you can uh, merge your photos to an HDRI photo. So it doesn't have to be a 360 photo. If you have like multiple photos of a different exposure, you can select all those photos and merge them over there. So I'm going to take this footage here. Well, actually in the 360 JPEG folder, I have all my photos. I think these are all the photos of the environment. So that's great. I'm going to select all of these and click OK. And click OK. Hey, Mr. Droopy, thank you so much, man. Okay, so you started with Blender and you switched over to Cinema 4D and Octane. What made you do that? I would love to hear your opinion on that, because you really had a lot of experience in Blender and then decided to switch it up. So why did you decide to do that? Is it the intuitiveness? Oh, you have to decide if you want to do it as a job or if you want to do it as a hobby. Well, the thing is, you can stick to the hobby until, like, yeah, you have to make it up for yourself, of course. But in my opinion, like, work-wise, work, you have to do it for your entire life. Like, it's gonna consume like 70-80% of your life for real. Like, you'd spend so much time at your work. Why wouldn't you pick something that you enjoy, man? I like, that's the thing that I really don't understand. Like, some people pick money over enjoyment when it comes to work. And in my opinion, that, like, you have to follow what you love, and then the rest will follow, you know. If you really put the passion in your work, the money will follow. Like, yeah. Of course, there are some situations that require to choose a wiser decision at a certain time in your life. So that's then it comes back to survival. But if you have everything that you need, and you could just do what you love, I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't choose that. But of course, a lot of people also have a lot of different interests. I had a lot of hobbies when I started out. I started out as a graphic designer. I did web design. I did videography. I wanted to film as well. So camera guy, it's awesome. Directing, acting, 3D stuff, visual effects, motion graphics. So much stuff to do. And I kept doing it. I kept jumping until I really found what I enjoyed. And I basically enjoy everything still to this day. But I enjoy VFX the most. So this is my HDRI. I'm going to click OK. Okay, Malaysia. Hello. Oh, Germany. I heard you on the news, man. It's it's again. Yeah. Well, I'm a neighbor from Germany, Belgium. So yeah, things are not looking too good. Hopefully, we can all stay as safe as possible. What are you saying, VFX via CGI? It's basically the same thing. Okay, we have our 360 HDRI photo. There we go. Converting it. So the workflow is going a little bit smoother. Could go a little bit smoother. I'm so sorry that my connection to the stream is a weak. It's because I don't have a cable running through my laptop. I'm on the Wi-Fi. That's definitely the problem. So not sure. Maybe I can find a solution for that for next time. Anyway, I'm going to be here for a few more, well, few more weeks. So I'm going to save this as, and then right here we can pick this radiance normally. So I'm not sure why it's not showing me that yet. I'm not sure why it's not showing me like HDR. So that's weird. Maybe I should try to do it again quickly. Or maybe it's the bitrate. I didn't end up changing the bitrate. That will be the problem. I learned basically, like let's say 90% of the things that I know on my own. I did do a VFX school for a year, and I was already pretty well. I already had a good understanding of VFX back then, and I followed the classes. I learned a few, like a thing or two. But basically, everything that I know is from self study, just experimenting with the software. And I am a strong believer that you don't need school for this. But the only thing, if I would look back on my experience, is like it took me a lot of time to get where I am, and I don't think it needs to take that long. But I didn't have anyone to tell me the exact steps I needed to take, and I made a lot of mistakes that eventually I found a solution to, but like 5 years later. And these are all topics that I want to discuss in my Epic VFX course, because I don't want the people that follow my course to have the same mistakes as what I did way back then. So I learned so much things that I want to share with you guys in that course. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out the link in the description. But it's so much value, in my opinion, because if I would have to do it again, I would love to have my course to watch it. Like I would learn so much. Like Ignace Aleya 10 years ago would have learned so much from that. Okay, so I changed my mode to 32. That's the important step we had to do. Okay, so photorealism and product design, you switch to Cinema 4D and Octane to achieve that. I understand that like Blender has Eevee and cycles, right? And it's not like physically correct. So the what I heard is that Blender's render engine is not physically accurate, so you have to kind of cheat your way to the photorealism. But I'm still sure it's possible. But like Octane is probably a lot faster to set things up, right? That's the thing. You win a lot more time to get the photorealism without struggling too much. That's what I think why I chose cinema, right? And like when it comes to intuitiveness, do you prefer cinema or Blender? But maybe if you're new to cinema, maybe you don't understand the entire software as well. Hey guys, how is everything going? Okay, so we're almost there with the HDRI map, and then we can import that in our 3D software. It's probably still 3D solving anyway, so we're not wasting that much time. Thank you so much. I have a lot of Indian fans. That's so awesome. Okay, so this is my photo. Let's go to File. So I always have a question, like all these people from India, are you all located in like a similar place, or is it like one is from the entire other side of the country, or are you all so close together? Not sure why it opens the camera raw. I don't want camera raw. I want to export my photo here, save it as. And here we have HDR. Okay, great. And now we're gonna call this HDR map. Okay, for the monolith. There we go. I'm going to save it in my 360 folder. All from different locations, okay? Yeah, India is such a big country. It's really hard for me to get a good grasp on like how much change there can be in different states because I'm from Belgium. Belgium is basically a state on its own. It's so small, so everyone is basically the same. We have a lot of different dialects though, but like I can be at anyone in Belgium in less than like 2 hours. So with the car, obviously, and normal speeds, so no speeding, just relaxed driving. Taking a drive to whoever in Belgium can take more than 2 hours. Crazy, right? So there we go. We have our 360. Our solve is almost done. We can already start a little bit with setting up Octane. So in a second. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. And we're just going to create a monolith that is going to be Chrome, and we're going to give it some detail. Oh, so you would, yeah. But Belgium is a pretty beautiful country, to be honest. There's a lot of sightseeing as well, in my opinion, for because it's so different from anything else in the world I've seen. But there are so many beautiful places on Earth. I haven't visited India yet. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. Cinema is so easy to learn compared to other 3D software. I think that's where the big difference is. Okay. In a few moments, we can continue with our monolith. Maybe we can already start modeling one in a new project so we don't lose valuable time. So I'm going to be creating this using, let's think, logically, I'm going to be using a cylinder. The cylinder will be the easiest because we can choose our rotation segments. I'm going to set this to 3. That way we have something like this. Cool. Okay, and then you can create this. Well, the height is 2 meters. That's great. Let's think we wanted to have it something like this. So this would be like 30 centimeters. I don't know. Something like that. Maybe we want to be like 250. A little bit bigger than that. Like, voila, there we go. And then what I want to do is go into the cap, give it a cap here, and give it a bigger radius. And just give it like 1 segment. That way we have this kind of top here, this kind of point. And this one is going in the floor anyway. And then we want to add a bevel here. This is really important to achieve photorealism, is to always bevel your stuff. Like you can see, we create a bevel here. And we're going to set this always pretty small, like points, let's say 0.05. Well, 0.5 is way too 0.5, I mean. There we go. And that way we get this kind of little edge. We can increase the subdivision here. But nothing in real life is perfectly straight, so maybe 0.1, there we go. A nice detail here, that's looking great. Awesome. This is gonna be our monolith. Yeah, this video will come to the channel normally. I'm not sure how, like, yeah, this should definitely get uploaded. Let's go back to our other window, see if the solve is done. I think it is. Right? So I'm just going to Window, Customization, Layouts, and I'm going for the motion tracker. That way I can just intuitively 3D solve my scene. It's a little bit easier to be in that view. So it's still 3D solving. I'm not sure how much longer. I should have gone for a way shorter video, like 5 seconds would have been more than enough to demonstrate something. So we can also start on the texturing maybe. So we will jump into the other window. I'm going to bring up Octane. I'm going to bring this here to the side. And I'm going to head over here to create a new HDRI environment. I'm going to load in an image. That's going to be my 360 image that we created in Photoshop. So right here, the HDRI, boom. And well, actually I can't create materials now because I'm in the motion graphics. I'm quickly going to check here when this render is done. Oh, there we go. It was done. Okay, motion tracker, great. I'm going to click on the motion tracker. How many years have I been working with cinema? Well, I've like had cinema for more than 10 years, but I haven't always been working full time with it. It's only recently that I really, well, I had a lot of experience already, but like recently I really did a full dive in with VFX because I've always been doing it with for projects for clients. But on the channel, I've always been doing After Effects stuff. And well, I've done Cinema 4D tutorials like 6 years ago, but people didn't really pick up on the 3D stuff back then. So a lot of people are really interested in it now. So I picked it up again, and apparently it's going pretty well on the channel. A lot of people really enjoy these 3D videos, so that's awesome. So I'm really curious how much longer it's going to take here. Gonna start. Give it a position constraint. Is it still? I'm not sure if it's still solving. I can't see it anywhere. If it's still solving. I think it is. We'll definitely wait a little bit more until this this entire craziness in the world is over. Because getting married with a mouth mask is like, it's not that romantic, right? Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's still trying to solve it. I'm not sure why it's taking that long. So I'm quickly going to start a new scene and see if we can do it with like way less trackers, so it's like instantly done. Because we can't wait all day here, like with all these trackers. Thought it wasn't going to be an issue, so sorry for that. I'm going to quickly import this footage. I'm going to set this to 66 here, 2D. Like, okay, let's go for 300, whatever. Tips to impress a crush. I should start a new channel for that, right? Like, in life, nothing is a big deal. And that's something that I also realized way too late. If you want something, just go and talk to her, man. Everyone has something to say, and just don't be shy. Just work on the shyness. Just go up to her and then, yeah, chat with her. And when you feel things are right, just go for it. I can imagine it's not easy yeah, to go and see your crush right now. So it's probably chatting right now because everyone is in lockdown. Okay, come on. Almost there. In the meantime, I'm just gonna wait if this first one is like, okay, there we go. Oh no, it's not doing anything. So this, like, I'm not sure what is going on with this scene here. It's like it was almost at the end with the 3D solve and then the loading bar just disappeared. So I have no idea. So we'll just restart it with a lot less tracking points. Usually I always like render or track my scene and I go for a coffee, but right now we're doing a stream and yeah, you guys are here. We don't want to spend too much time waiting, right? On this laptop, I'm working with 32 gigabytes of RAM. So again, I'm quickly going to give a reminder here. You can check out the link in the description for the Epic VFX class. Click and sign up with your email. You will get a bunch of free tips and tricks along the way. And once we know more information about our masterclass, once we have all the details, we will be sharing them with you on email. So definitely go and sign up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. I'm not sure if the scene is still doing something, so I still have hope. But I don't think so. So this is going rather quickly. We'll be there in a second. Exactly. You're right. I should have actually painted myself here, gone in Photoshop. I should have used the cloner stamp tool, but that's all right. It's okay. So yeah, I think that the tracking will take way too long. So we're just going to concentrate for now on the layout. So I'm going for the standard layout. Well, the startup I wanted. Yeah, this is all right. We're going to bring up the live viewer for Octane. I'm going to bring that here to the side. I'm going to quickly save the scene as the monolith. And I'm going to create a new Octane material. I'm going to bring this material onto my object and I'm going to render my scene. So I have my HDRI environment currently. I'm quickly going to add a floor just to get some idea of how it will look. There we go. We're going to bring this up and we're going to give this a texture. So we're going to double click on my texture. I'm going to rename this chrome and we're going to change this material type to a glossy and go into the index tab and set it to 1. That way we have a chrome material. There we go, we can see it. And now the fun thing is that we're going to start using textures. You can actually go over to this website over here if you want. And you can download this 8K tileable texture, which you can find right here. It's free, it's 8K. And these are really interesting to put into your channels because now you have a perfect chrome thing, but nothing in real life is perfect. So what we want to do is play with the roughness here by going to the texture here for Cinema 4D Octane, and then going to the image texture and loading an image texture. And then I'm going to use one of these images that I just downloaded. You want to use something like this. There we go. Click no. And you're going to see now immediately what it is going to do to our scene. So we're loading this into roughness. So whatever is white is going to be very rough. Whatever is black is not going to have an effect on the roughness. And if we zoom in on our scene, we can see that we now have like this more aged effect on our monolith. So that's a really cool way to create something like that. And obviously you can go into the node editor And like in between these two textures, well, first you have to click on the image texture and click on projection and set the projection to a box. That way we have a correct procedural projection here. And then we can also go for UV transform, so we can play with the scaling here. And maybe we want to make this a little bit smaller. So like 0.5, let's go. It's a little bit smaller. That's looking great. And then what we can do is add in between the image texture and the roughness, we can add a gradient map from Octane. Octane gradient, bring that in. And basically what we want to do is you can do two things. You can add more contrast or you can make things less obvious. So if we bring these two towards each other, we're going to start seeing something like this, and that's pretty cool. The thing that I don't like is it's perfectly black, so I'm going to double click on my black color here, and I'm going to bring this to a dark gray color. So we always have some kind of blur, and the white, I'm just going to bring it to like a light gray color. And if we're going to close this and like zoom out a little bit, we can now see that we have a much more interesting texture going on. So obviously you can still go and play with the size and the scale and everything, but this is a really cool way of getting a nice chrome look. You can also add a bump texture here, so we can load in another image texture. "200 likes would be awesome, guys." Thank you so much. And I'm going to use this texture this time, and I'm going to open it up. Nope. Maybe I want to invert this one though. So let's see. So there we go. We're going to click on projection, open it up, and set it to box. And UV transform. Let's see what it is doing. Let's disable the roughness for now, so we can concentrate on the bump. I hope it's not crashing. By the way, I'm quickly going to dive in. Well, I'm going to save this project for sure. And I'm going for Edit, Preferences. And this is also really cool for you guys. If you're working in cinema, things sometimes crash. So you have to go to your Autosave. So I'm not sure where we have the interface, the input device, navigation, view, files. Let's see. Autosave, we want to check this on every 5 minutes, and it's going to add these copies to your project directory. So we just checked this on. I didn't have it checked on here because I'm working on a mobile setup, but I have it on in my office. So there we go. We can see our bump layer now, but what I want to do is invert it. And let's take a closer look here. I'm going to bring this power way lower. Okay, there we start seeing some interesting stuff. And set it to 0.3 in size. Okay, cool. And we can play with the gamma. Okay, I really like this one. We're going to enable the roughness again. And now we have a nice detailed monolith. Obviously, we can go ahead and make this as crazy as we want. But it's looking pretty cool already for what we have now. And then we can go into our other project. I'm just quickly going to check if this solve is actually done. Okay, it's finally done. Great. Awesome. Okay. Was about time, right? Window. Customization, layouts, motion tracker. And okay, so now I'm going to click here and create a position constraint, and I'm going to click here on the place where this tripod is because I want my monolith to appear there. This is going to be the center of our scene. So the position constraint is basically showing a point. This is going to be the center of your scene. So guys, whoever wants to learn epic VFX and doesn't feel comfortable yet, check out my link in the description, learnepicvfx.com. We're gonna do an amazing course. I'm so excited to launch this. Can't wait to share all this amazing information to create, well, to make you to be an epic VFX artist. Just the photorealism in your stuff, and yeah, just how to get everything from A to Z. We're gonna do an entire project and stuff. It's gonna be so much fun, and we will be able to hang out. We will be able to chat, and you can ask your questions and stuff like that. So that's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, so this time it's not gonna be on After Effects. This time it's Cinema 4D, and I think you speak for yourself when you say us. I'm not sure who is there. A lot of people here in the chat really enjoy the cinema or the 3D stuff. So we have our position constraint here, and then we can continue with a vector constraint. We can this vector constraint is usually made to give the scaling of your scene. In 3D, it's really important to work with real-time, real-life measurements. So we're gonna click on one of these dots and then on another one, and we're just gonna give it some kind of length. And that's basically all I wanna do for now. We have this little line here, and I want to go and give it some details now. So here I'm going to set the length to known. Even though I don't know it, I'm just gonna guess it. I think this can be like 1.50 meters, let's say. So we're just gonna fill in that number. And things are really starting to slow down here, so I think it's because of the other scene and it's still kind of calculating the camera. Oh, hey Joachim, how are you? How are you doing? Also coming to join us and see some VFX. So quickly going to close all these other scenes. Well, I tried to do my best here. So I'm going to close this scene here. And head over back to the scene. Okay, so now we have this vector, we have this known, and we're gonna set it to 150 centimeters. And that way we're going to get like a kind of realistic measurement system. And then we can, once that is solved, we can add a plane and we can add our monolith in our scene and see if it's tracked correctly. So basically, if we're going to add anything to our scene now, you'll see that it's going to place that object on the center point of our 360 camera because I added my position constraint right there. Guess what I'm going to drink, Joachim, later? Guess what I'm going to drink? Are you jealous yet? Okay, so these things, they always tend to lag a little bit, so I'm not sure why this time. Oh, it's auto-saving. Okay, so now if we add an object to our scene, you can see that it's added to the center of your scene. Normally, you also want to start correcting it even more and giving it the right access point so it's completely leveled. But I'm just going to click here and create a planar constraint. I'm just going to click 3 points here. 1, 2, and 3. The third one is always the one that is going to be a little bit heavier because it's calculating the plane level. Yeah, definitely, man. I will still do a lot of After Effects tutorials. It's just like mixing it up a little bit. This is for people that like want to get it to a next level, and I understand totally that you cannot afford it at this time. That's totally okay. Just concentrate on After Effects for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, man. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm gonna be drinking. Okay, so we have our planar constraint, and now that is created, we can create a plane which is going to act as our floor, and now we can import our model, and now we should basically be done with our track in our scene and have our monolith. So here we can create a plane. If we click this button, it will create our plane here. And we can now increase the size a little bit to like 800 by 800, something like that. And I'm going to head over to my other window and to the monolith here. Window, monolith, we already created it. And I'm just going to copy this, Control C, window, my track footage, Control V. And because I also set my scaling right, it's already at a proper scaling here. The only downside, well, I'm going to switch my window to layout to be standard. Gonna do another save. We want to create another material because currently I have a plane. It's gonna look white. We can actually see it in the Octane live viewer. I'm gonna redo my lighting here because I don't have a lighting in the scene. But yeah, we're almost there, guys. So here we see this. I'm going to jump into my settings. I'm going to set it to a path tracing. And alpha channel, keep environment checked off. There we go. Now we can see our background coming through. And I'm going to add a object HDRI environment, load the image that we created in Photoshop. So that's right here in the 360 folder. And now we will see the lighting here will change. Yeah, exactly. It should be exciting. If you're working with 3D other 3D software, I follow other 3D software tutorials as well because you can always learn something. Always there is some valuable information that you can just translate into your software. So easy. So we're going to create another material, this time Octane material. And we're going to apply this material to our floor. So it's not going to change a thing because it's currently also set to white. But if we double click on that footage, that material, it's auto-saving again. Maybe I shouldn't set it every 5 minutes. Well, you never know. If it crashes, you lose a lot of stuff. And go to Common. And here you can choose the shadow catcher. And boom, now we have shadows on our floor. We can see everything's looking great. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so we can see the correct aspect ratio. Boom, so we see this monolith now. And we can click on this monolith, go into the position, the position tool. And we're going to just move this monolith a little bit more towards the camera. So I'm going to click on this and push it a little bit more towards me. Just drag the Z a little bit towards the negative, so the tripod is a little bit hidden. So minus 20 maybe, or minus 40. There we go. And maybe push it a little bit to the X with like 20. Or maybe that's too much, like 10. Okay, so now we have this monolith here, and it's looking great. And last thing that I want to do is also add a light daylight. So basically we're mixing a sunlight with a HDRI that we created, and that's going to allow us to recreate our shadows. I don't actually see any shadows on my scene, so maybe we can really skip this part. But this way you could add shadows to your scene. You can see that this is going to add the shadows here. If we would rotate this a little bit, you can see our shadow right here. And if you click here, you can mix these, mix sky texture, and that's going to mix it with your HDRI environment, and you can see something like this. Now it's up to you to go into your image texture right here and make sure that the colors match up. To do that, I always like to disable my model and just create a quick sphere in my scene. And click on my sphere, go to the object tag, and set it to like 60 segments, so we have a smooth sphere. Click on the position and move it up. And then here I want to create a new extension cinema for the material. And I'm going to create another Octane, a chrome material, but this time I'm not going to add all these bumps and smudges. We want to have a clear HDRI map. And this is the essential part if you want to have photoreal. You want to drag this onto your sphere. Make sure that material is applied to that sphere. And then double click on this and just go to the index tab, or first change the material type to glossy. And go to the index tab and set it to 1. Close this window. And now what you want to do is basically match up this environment. It already looks pretty great. We can go into the image here, and then go into the image texture and play with the gamma until you get something that you like. So I think 1 was actually perfect. The only downside is that we're seeing that the sky is really white in the shot, and in our shot it's white. So I'm just gonna set this to 1. But this could be the clouds that are actually above the camera. So this is perfectly possible. And it already looks like it's pretty photoreal. So that's great. So yeah, for my settings, I always go in here. I quickly do some, like you don't have a lot of settings in Octane. Okay, this might look like very complicated, but this is all there is. Once you're done with this, you're done with everything. So yeah, and that's all something that we explain in the Epic VFX course as well. So again, link is in the description, guys. If you're interested in VFX, this is going to be the #1 place to get it. So, and we're gonna have a lot of fun along the way. But yeah, basically we have our sphere, and then you can disable the sphere because now you have a perfect understanding of how your environment looks like. And we can reveal our object again. And you can, of course, play with the intensity a little bit until you think things match up. And obviously, I think I need to put a little bit more time and effort into detailing this, but you guys get the idea, and we can see that it's tracked. So I'm going to quickly pause this here because we're not getting a, well, we cannot play things here. I think it's doing another render. So 5 minutes might be a little bit too fast. Clint's live stream. Who is Clint? Oh, and there we go. We have a crush. Okay, typical. But yeah, basically that was it anyway. This was it for this video. I still have the backup, so I might finish it up, and then you can see it in our Discord group. Maybe I will post it there. But I'm actually working on something else that kind of has this idea in it. So yeah, I'm quickly going to open up Cinema again, but that was it for this live stream. How to track something in your scene, how to add some details to a chrome monolith. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little bit of a struggle because I'm on my mobile setup. It's a little bit of an experimental phase for me as well. I should have connected to the cable, would have been a lot smoother. But we always learn things, and that's the most important. We just have to do, learn, and do again, and learn. If you don't do, you don't learn. So you can't skip that part. You can watch a lot of tutorials, but if you don't do them, you're not gonna learn. So let's see how much we lost. Cinema backup, and then we're gonna check the time. This one, no, this one, yes, I guess. Okay, open it up. All right, guys. So yeah, thank you so much for joining in this live stream. It was a lot of fun to speak to you all. Thank you so much for being here, and definitely check out the link in the description if you want to become a VFX artist. We're gonna do way much more interesting stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base here and see where we can get this in a pretty quick video. So here we can see it's perfectly tracked to our ground, and yeah, if you would render this out, it would look pretty cool. But I'm going to finish up this shot, and yeah, no, nothing is gone. Everything is still here. We backed everything up, but that was the finish of my stream because I also have some other things to do, and I can't stream much longer. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, guys. I'll see you in the next one, and take care, stay safe. And until then, create epic videos.